All right. Greetings, friends. So, did that work? We're a little high-tech today up in the True Crime Metrix studio. Yeah, we've been going through some of these StreamYard features. I think we're going to have to get the professional version. How about it? Take a long, hard last look at that duck. It might be the last time we can put our own watermark there. Maybe we could put a picture of our own sound control list, the Labrador called Soap. How about it, guys? Maybe. We're in the new leagues, the big leagues, the majors. We're coming back to the majors. What are we doing tonight, folks? Well, yesterday we had a look at Jeff Lacasse. Kind of my first stream in a while on this new machine, this new rose gold Metrix machine. And yeah, getting back into the flow of it, getting back into the flow. We'll get there. A couple more days. We're starting off tonight. Wendi Adelson. I wanted to do a little edit to cut down this lengthy examination, plus the cross, plus redirect, maybe condense it down into a little 45-minute piece, But I can't remember my Apple ID, and I don't have the phone number for them to send the code anymore, so it's with Apple, and it takes several days, so we can't get any edit software. We'll have to just watch the whole damn thing then, which I don't think is a bad thing. We'll just get through it, right? We've done it before. We'll do it again. We'll look at new things this time. New things on the Wendi Adelson 2023 testimony from the first-degree murder trial of her brother, Charlie Adelson. Now, how do we do that? How is everybody doing tonight? Welcome in the chat. Good to see you all. Lego person, the two, Amy, JC, how are we all doing? Neverly, darling, Rabbit, fantastic to see you guys. Who else we got? C. Malone, never misses a show, C. Malone. Okay, share screen. Okay, we've got to just put this over here like that. Get all nicely set up here.
Everyone can be seated. State, please call your next witness.
State calls Wendi Adelson.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth? You may be seated.
I think the judge just rolls his eyes when he asks Wendi Adelson that. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give it will be the truth? What is the point?
Ma'am, please say and spell your name.
Wendi Adelson, Wendiadelson.
Where are you from, Ms. Adelson?
I'm originally from Coral Springs, Florida.
And where do you live now?
I currently live in Miami.
How are you employed?
Now kind of part-time. I do asylum work and I fundraise for nonprofit organizations.
Are you an attorney?
By training, yes.
Okay. How long?
What a noble field she works in, hey? Asylum work and fundraise for non-profit organizations, because profit doesn't matter to me because I'm an Adelson and the money has already been stacked, okay?
How long have you been a member of the Florida Bar?
Since I graduated and took the bar in 2006.
And are you here today pursuant to a subpoena?
Yes.
So if she were on a job interview and had to stumble on her memory for that simple question, when did you become a member of the Florida Bar? Would it be a good look on a job interview for her to go, well, since I graduated in 2006? Wouldn't happen, right? All of a sudden in court, lapse of memory.
Yeah.
All right. And that subpoena confers use and derivative use immunity to you. So nothing you say could be used against you in the future.
That is correct.
That doesn't mean you have full immunity from prosecution, but nothing you say here and nothing derived from it could be used in that prosecution. Is that your understanding?
That is my understanding.
Did you know Daniel Markel?
Yes.
How did you know him?
We were married.
When did you meet Mr. Markel?
We met in the fall of my second year of law school, so fall of 2004.
And where did you meet?
We met in Washington, D.C. He was working there, and I was looking into a summer job in Washington.
When did you get married?
In February of 2006.
And when did you live here in Tallahassee?
We lived in Tallahassee.
I really wish Georgia would ask some questions here. Maybe she's wisely saving it for Wendy's own trial. But, you know, if she could begin to paint the picture, the real true picture, right? Did you meet Mr. Dan Markel, Professor Markel, on J-Date? And was your mother perusing likely suitors with you on J-Date, looking at this Harvard-educated professor with also a Cambridge graduate, and the the Hebrew University in Jerusalem? Very, very good. Maybe you should marry him. And I'm going to push you like an interfering narcissistic parent into something that you don't want, which will cause you to have great resentment for me in the future and hatch a plan for me to be instrumental in the assassination execution of your then husband, which you will later go on to orchestrate my own arrest, as a final fuck you, mother and brother, for seeing me in a way that was that I found unfavorable.
Third year of law school, so from August of 2005 until I think around maybe May or June of 2006. And then we moved to Miami for a year because Danny was interested in working at the University of Miami. Mm-hmm. He did not get the job at University of Miami, and so we moved back here in 2007 and lived here until 2014.
And where were the two of you employed during the time you lived here in Tallahassee?
I was employed at the FSU Center for Human Rights, and Danny was employed at FSU Law School.
Were you both professors at FSU College of Law?
Yes.
And were you living on Trescott Drive at that time?
When we were married.
Hello, KMA and KLK. How you doing? Good to see you.
We lived, I think we rented a house before that, but at some point, maybe in 2008, we moved to Trescott Drive.
And is that the home that he was still living in at the time that he was killed?
That is correct.
Okay, and you were no longer living there, is that correct?
I was no longer living.
See, Wendy has to not remember details that are ridiculous, like, yeah, I think we rented a house before we moved into Trescott. I think maybe that happened. Maybe not. I think I remember renting a house. You remember that? Yeah, we rented a house while we were looking to buy a property, and then we moved into the Trescott Drive. But if she remembers everything, she has to not remember things that she obviously does remember, so that it fits when she doesn't remember details around the important details, like and what time did the repairman come on the 18th of July?
All right. At the time he was killed, you two had children together, yes?
Yes.
And how many children did you have?
We have 2 children.
And what are their ages now?
They are 13 and 14.
What about at the time of their dad's death?
At the time of their dad's death, they were 4 and 3.
When did you separate from Professor Markel?
In the fall of 2012.
Whose decision was it to separate?
It was my decision.
And was part of the reason for the separation the two of you having differing views on how to raise your kids as far as within the Jewish faith?
I mean, it was
I agree, Rabbit. Rabbit says, take notice that Wendi repeats each question slowly. She is effectively controlling the pace. Well, I do agree, Rabbit, but she's also, that's her own security. She maintains her own pace so that she's not so susceptible for Georgia to speed her up in a direction and make her trip up. She's controlling her own pace, right? And maintaining it with vigor.
a small part, but it was part of it.
Okay, that seemed to be something that came up a lot in your communication, so that's why I asked about it. What was the difference of opinion on that?
I mean, when we first met and started dating, Danny wasn't as observant or as religious as he became over time. And so the difference in our
Has that been verified? Because he had a very a classical Jewish education. I mean, he studied in Jerusalem, right, for a year. His parents are pretty what's the word, orthodox, into Judaism. Is it true that he wasn't as observant of his faith? I think that's just a convenient way for you to put it, Wendi.
perspective on raising kids was about dietary choices and attendance at synagogue, things like that.
So in general, he wanted to raise the children more strictly in terms of the faith than you.
That is correct.
Did you move out of the marital home while Mr. Markel was away on a business trip?
I did, yes.
All right. And did he know that you were moving out when he left for the business trip?
No, he did not.
Where did you go when you left the marital home?
I rented a home.
Everything was normal when he left. I waved him goodbye, kissed him goodbye, said, I'll see you when you get back. I'll have your kosher meal ready. And then I left the divorce papers on the bed, took all the stuff, apart from the things that I knew he wouldn't even give a shit about, like the dishwashing sponges. All of those were left. I didn't even take one of the dishwashing sponges. They were neatly put away, and I even put them on a little rack so that they wouldn't sit in water and collect bacteria, because I'm a good person.
In Tallahassee.
Where was that? Do you remember the address?
Aqua Ridge Way.
3303 sound right?
That's right.
Okay.
Aqua Ridge Way or Lane? Aqua Ridge Way or Lane.
And what was the custody arrangement once you moved out of the marital home?
I mean, in the beginning, until we had a formal custody arrangement, we were just finding ways to share custody. I remember that first weekend his parents came, so I made sure he had the children all weekend.
Yeah, we were finding ways to share. He was desperately running around trying to find out where I'd taken the kids, calling everyone we know. And we were finding ways over time. Like, they were with me in a secret location, but then we found ways.
And while his parents were visiting from Canada, but eventually we had a 50-50 shared custody arrangement.
All right. And do you remember exactly what that looked like? Was it week on, week off, or something more complicated?
It was something more complicated. In the summertime, it was week on, week off. During the weeks, it was I think what they called like a 2-2 split, with Wednesday night being an overnight and then the weekends being every other weekend.
All right, but roughly 50-50.
50-50, but that was the split.
Okay.
Hey, Leslie, are you saying that Phil and Ruth Markel are not kosher? Oh, that surprises me. But I don't have that fact. So if that's the fact, thank you, Leslie.
And I want to show you what's been introduced into evidence, State's Exhibit 56. you've had a chance to take a look at this before, but if you'll just kind of thumb through it and tell me if you recognize it.
Sure.
Yeah, Ryan B says that she left some food in the fridge, pork chops, mozzarella, shrimp, all mixed together in a bowl. In a non-kosher bowl. On the front of the fridge, I spell out schmuck in those little fridge magnet letters.
Do you recognize the exhibit?
I do.
Is it a fair and accurate copy of your divorce file?
It looks like it, yes.
All right. And is it fair to say this was a contentious litigation process that you had with your ex?
It was.
And I want to ask you about a specific filing in there. It's on begins on page 43. And it's in reference to a filing on January 14th of 2013 where you were looking to relocate with the minor children. Do you recall that particular filing?
I recall the filing. You said 43. I'm not sure oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am. On the bottom, there should be page numbers for you.
Yes.
Ian, good to see you, my man.
Yes, I recognize it.
Okay, and that's the filing in reference to your motion for relocation?
Yes.
Okay, and did you file this motion with the intent to not be successful?
I'm sorry, I
It's
don't
been
understand the question.
suggested that you never thought that was going to be successful. Did you?
I
Or
think
not?
I thought there was a small chance that it would be successful, but not very likely, no.
Okay, and weren't you thinking, well, maybe Danny?
I had a team of lawyers at $600 an hour each file this 22,000-page document motion, just cause. I didn't think it would be successful. I mean, I thought it would be good to put on record. So yeah, it cost my family about $25,000 to do, but yeah, didn't really have high hopes.
He would be happy working somewhere else because he's mentioned applying elsewhere. So maybe he'll allow the relocation. Were you
Well,
thinking
he
that?
and I talked about the relocation. So when we talked about it, he thought, well, if I can live nearby in Miami, that might work. And then I could commute to FSU. I didn't mean for him to
Hello, Clarissa.
leave FSU, but he wanted to leave FSU at some point. So that
So-
was just a matter of time.
So you thought it might be successful.
Sure. I mean, I thought it was possible, but not likely.
All right.
I don't know if it's this trial. I think it was an earlier trial where she goes, oh yeah, and he had dreams of going to Harvard. Like, and she says it in a way that's like, yeah, complete fantasy because they'd never accept him. Why not? He went there.
All right. And page 46 of that document, paragraph E references the job offer. The wife also desires to relocate to South Florida in order to provide a better quality of life for the children by increasing their access to close family and providing more stability and consistency. Who is
Nothing to do with me having like, somewhere to put the kids all the time. Nothing to do with that. It's a better quality of life for the kids, which is ridiculous. What the kids need to jet ski with their uncle every weekend. Constantly every weekend they need to jet ski with their uncle.
the close family in South Florida?
The close family would have been my mom and my dad and my brother
And which brother is that?
that's here today.
Charlie Adelson.
That's correct.
Okay. What's your mom's name?
My mom's name is Donna.
Donna Adelson.
Yes, that's
What
her
a-
name.
What about your dad?
My dad's name is Harvey.
And where did Donna and Harvey live back in the time frame between 2012 and 2016?
They lived at the home I grew up in Coral Springs.
I've just realized that Harvey Adelson is pretty close to Harley Davidson. Imagine that. If Harley Adelson rode a Harley Davidson, what would happen? Would the universe implode?
And how far do they live away from you currently as we sit here today?
Currently, depends on Miami traffic, but anywhere between 15 minutes and an hour.
Right. And what kind of a relationship do you have with your parents as we sit here today?
I have a good relationship with my parents.
And has that always been the case?
I would say so.
I have a great relationship with my parents. They watch the kids for free every day, and they pay for all their shit so I can keep the money that the government give me for them, which we did the math the other day, guys. From the ages of 3 and 5, roughly, just about to turn 5, until the ages of 18, she received, was it $2,400 a month each? So that's for the next 15 and 13 years respectively, which came to about $860,000. Not bad. Did you or your boys benefit financially from the death of Professor Markel? No. Apart from the 860 grand.
Can you describe the relationship that your mom has with your boys?
I think it's very loving. I think she's a very dedicated grandmother.
She spends a lot of time with them, doesn't she?
She does, yeah.
And when they were little and you first moved there after Danny's death, how much time was she spending with them?
When I moved there after Danny's death in 2014,
How much time was your mom spending with the boys?
I mean, we were all living together at that point. So, I mean, we were spending every day together.
How were your parents employed? Are they retired now?
They're retired now.
What are they retired from?
My dad was a dentist, and my mom used to coordinate, kind of be like an office administrator at his practice.
And did she write the checks at the practice? Paychecks?
Yes. She handled all the bookkeeping.
What was the name of the practice?
The name changed over the years, but probably the name when they retired was the Adelson Institute.
And were your parents wealthy at the time that your husband?
It's so funny that she's always so cagey about that. Remember the other trials where she goes, "Oh, it was Harvey Adelson DDS," or whatever it is, the acronym. You know, because they think, oh my, these Tallahassee dimwits are going to think that we're flashy Miami people if we say the Adelson Institute.
Was murdered.
I mean, my parents worked their whole lives to support us, right?
Mhm.
So I think the business did well for a period of time.
About $2 million in profit each year between 2013 and 2016.
They
Sound right?
never talked to me about money, so I have no idea how much the business made at any given point.
Did you discuss your marital problems with your mom at all?
I did, yeah.
Okay. What about the resulting legal issues? Was your mom read in on those things?
I mean, I definitely
Just pausing for a moment to comment on George's fantastic, stunning dress sense. Look at that. Posture and everything. I mean, just fantastic. What a woman.
updated her about the results of the relocation when that petition got denied, but not kind of the ins and outs of every part of our divorce.
She looks like she's made of gold. Look at her. A golden angel.
What about your dad? Was he invested in your divorce status?
I think the same as my mom, just worried about me and worried about the boys.
Mm-hmm. What about your brother? Did he take an interest in the ins and outs of your divorce?
No, not really.
Did he need to protect you from Dan Markel?
No, I mean, I don't think I need protection.
Were you physically in danger from Dan Markel?
No, I wasn't in danger.
Did the litigation revolving around the divorce and the subsequent issues that arose, did that impact your family back in South Florida?
I mean, only to the extent that I think they felt bad for what I was going through, but
I want to show you an exhibit that I've marked as State's Exhibit 59. Sorry, 57, Your Honor. You've seen this one before as well. Does that one look familiar?
I don't remember it, to be honest. It's from 10 years ago.
Take a moment to look through it.
Sure.
When you're done, I'll let opposing counsel take a look at it, but go ahead and let us know when you're done reviewing it.
Yeah, Clarissa, June did have a asymmetrical outfit as well, but Wendi wears it for a purpose. Asymmetry is not natural to the eye, right? You'll notice Wendi holds her head in that position so it's not straight up all the time. She has a lot of facial expressions that are not symmetrical, like half her face is going up, the other half is going down. That's when people are wearing a mask and their brain can't quite keep up with what to do with their face, and it just messes up, right? And the symmetry with the clothes, the asymmetry, it's like if your brain's looking at something and doesn't recognize the shapes, it starts to hypnotize you. It's like if you see a figure of a man, a silhouette of a man, you know it's a man. But if he's bent over in a funny way, you don't recognize it as quick, right? It's all, you know, I would bet $100 right now that her outfit is chosen as an asset to her manipulation, and she knows exactly what she's doing. The facial tick thing, not so much. We should count the number of times her face goes berserko mode. That's involuntary. She can't control that. That's because her brain doesn't know what the fuck, you know, half of it's a mask, half of it's real. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, look sad, Charlie. Look really somber, like you're taking this seriously. Like you can't believe that you've been falsely accused of this brutal act. Leslie, the obsession with going to Miami is because it's an exclusive rich pit of elitists. You know, a high-rise apartment on South Beach, that is the creme de la creme. That's top league. That's the obsession with going. They don't want to live in Broward County. They want to live in the Atlantic Ocean facing high rise on the southernmost tip peninsula of Florida. That's where they want to live. With the sushi restaurants. Thanks for smashing the like button, Barbara, and everyone else, click like.
Okay.
All right, are those emails between you and your mother?
I don't think I responded. I think they're just emails from my mom to me. No?
Okay, mostly all from your mom.
Yeah.
Okay, and the email address says, I think it's something like Wendi Harvey. Can you tell from the content that it's your mom typing rather than your dad?
Yeah, the email's Donna Harvey, my two parents' names. So they've been married over 50 years. So they have a joint email address.
They've been married 50 years, over 50 years. They're super happy and in love. And they run a business. And they're super happy and in love. And they've been married 50 years.
So it's from both of them.
Okay, so what I want to draw your attention to is page 2 of that exhibit, that first paragraph there above the word response.
Hello, riding shotgun. How you doing?
Did you have an opportunity to read that?
I read it real fast,
Kind of
but
scanned.
I can read it.
And what I want to draw your attention to is specifically the part that reads, your father has made numerous trips by plane for weekends and changing the patient schedules around so he can continue to spend significant time with the children. Did you?
Are you objecting, Mr. Rauschenberg?
I just didn't hear it get admitted into evidence.
Judge, at this time, I'd ask to move this exhibit into evidence.
Any objection?
Yeah, Christina. Asymmetrical facial expressions are said to mean disdain or disgust, for sure. But there's something extra with Wendi because she's got this total mask on all the time. You know, there's a lot of them. Put it that way.
No objection.
It's 57.
Is admitted. Go ahead.
Thank you. So that paragraph, isn't that paragraph going into detail about how the issues surrounding your divorce and litigation is financially impacting in a negative way your parents' business?
That's what my mom says here. Yes.
Okay, and it also says, additionally, this loss of income affects my family because my older brother, also a dentist, purchased the practice from my father in mid-July 2012. He has a monthly payment to make to my father based on the sale of the practice. It isn't fair to him to have decreasing monthly income statements from the practice due to my parents spending so much time here in Tallahassee. So this is an argument.
Okay, here's big part of Charlie's motive. Losing money. Having to do more work than he wants. Less time on the jet ski. Less time at Skyline Chili eating a bowl of chili. You know? Harvey's got to be traveling up to frickin' Tallahassee all the time, driving. I mean, maybe if he flew, no, it's a control thing, isn't it? Harvey doesn't want to fly unless he's piloting the plane.
Argument that your mom is proposing, right, to help you, give you an idea of what might persuade the courts to allow the relocation. You agree with that?
Yes, that's what she was doing. Yes.
Okay, and she's indicating that both your parents as well as your brother have suffered financially as a result of you not being able to relocate.
Yes.
Okay, and on page, do you have page numbers in the bottom right corner of your exhibit?
I have them in the top so I can see.
Okay, so well, let me look. Give me a moment. So it'll be the second email in your packet, page 1 of 3.
Okay.
Do you see that?
I see that page.
Okay, and there's a rest of your life highlighted or underlined in the center and in bold. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, right before that, it reads, however, the rest of your life and consequently Dad's, mine, and yes, even Charlie's will be affected by how well you can perform/act before July 31st. You need to be a good actress you can be a good actress when you want to. I've seen you in action. You need to put on the performance of your life. Jibbers hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet. Who's Jibbers?
Jibbers, she's referring to Danny.
And was Jibbers a name he went by or just something you called him behind his back?
Jibbers was a silly nickname that I gave him during the divorce proceedings when he was being pretty scary and threatening, and it kind of made me feel less scared of him.
Okay, so not something you called him to his face.
No.
But that was a word that was only used to describe him.
Yes, it was a nickname.
Okay. So in this, again, your mom is referencing how everyone's life is being affected.
It's all about the context, isn't it, though? Jibbers hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet. These people, my God, who do you think you are? The Adelson family win. They always win because we pay for cheating and cheat every time.
Affected by this relocation, including your brother, Charlie. Do you agree with that?
That is what she said, yes.
All right. Is your mom overprotective of you?
Yes.
All right. And is it fair to say she's, a little on the controlling side?
I don't think she's controlling, but she's definitely overprotective.
Did she ever try to micromanage your life?
Maybe, yeah.
Did she have an interest in who you were dating and who you weren't dating and who you should be dating when you were single?
I think she was usually disappointed that I wasn't dating more.
Okay. For example, isn't it true that she would not let you drive to and from Tallahassee to South Florida?
Well, I used to drive before I had the boys, but they were young and she preferred to come with me and give me some extra support.
So what would that look like if you were going to take a trip to South Florida?
Shall we have a look at this, guys? How do we do this? Dear Wendi, okay, just saw this email this morning. Obviously, his 23-page rant was insufficient, so he is trying to push the court to deny hearing your petition. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know if to prevent any action, your attorney must respond or not. Only you and she know that. However, Jibbers has made his divorce a full-time job to attempt to get what he's always gotten, his way. His job allows for lots of time for him to put into this project. And you know as well as I do that all the research he's done on different case law to prove his point in his research is his research, not his attorney's. No matter who did it, he is quoting 13 cases to show why the court should basically throw out your petition. Is Kristen answering this? Does it require an answer to make sure that this is not seen by the court as ignoring his rights? I don't know. You need to find out. The most important part of your divorce is relocation. I sincerely hope your attorney understands that that is your non-negotiable. I sincerely hope your attorney understands that is your non-negotiable. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Lots of things are negotiable. That's the one thing that you cannot let him think, okay, well, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. She needs to hear from you how serious you are about this and how it will benefit the children with a close-knit family support system, as well as your significantly better paying job with hours much more flexible than your current job, so that you can spend significantly more time with the children. How'd that work out, Donna? Which requires teaching hours, office hours, court appearances, meeting with med school people, and multiple trips away from home. Those trips need to be coordinated with a very angry man who will not be cooperative with you in that regard. For example, this past weekend, you had your annual conference for something. At the same time, his regular NYU crap was taking place. He didn't say so much empathy, Donna. His regular NYU crap. He didn't say, I've got to NYU every month and this is your annual meeting. I'll stay with the children and you go. Of course not. Danny thinks he's a very important person. And as always, he has his needs come first. So without your parents as backup, one of you would have had to stay home with the children. Your attorney needs to understand that your mother worked full-time in the family's dental practice until September, when she felt she was needed by you for the well-being of the children, to get them through a transitional time with people who love them and see them frequently and with whom they share great affection. Your father has made numerous trips by plane for weekends and changing the patient schedules around so that he can continue to spend significant time with the children. Both the disappearance of your mother from the position of office manager and the disappearance of your father from the practice for a significant amount of time has caused a decrease in the practice income and the loss of some patients who feel that it's either not being run the same way as when my mother was there full time, or that my father is unable to see patients with problems and has referred them to other offices during his absences. Additionally, this loss of income affects my family because my older brother, also a dentist, purchased the practice from my father in mid-July 2012. He has a monthly payment to make to my father based on the sale of the practice. It isn't fair to him to have decreasing monthly income statements from the practice due to my parents spending so much time here in Tallahassee. My brother is unmarried and is a wonderful uncle to Benjamin and Lincoln. If I am unable to relocate to South Florida, they will have an incredibly If I am able to relocate to South Florida, they will have an incredibly warm and loving family as an integral part of their lives, not an occasional 2-day weekend trip to visit. Response. Should we do the response? How long is this? Okay, maybe that's enough of this for now. Yeah, we don't need to do another 3 pages of that. But what a riot, huh?
Would they come up here and get you, or?
No, sometimes I would go myself with the kids, but I was breastfeeding both of them, so it usually looked like me breastfeeding a child.
Hey, thanks, C. Malone and Riding Shotgun for the super chats. C. Malone says there is a wild rumor going around that a soap has been issued a subpoena by Rashi on September 29th. Is this true? Yeah. They're having her deposed. And what would they say? What would they ask her? Ask her anything. And Riding Shotgun says, you achieve great karma if you hit the like button. It's true. It's true. I've heard great things about people who have been clicking like.
While I entertained the other in the Okahumpka rest stop. So it was a lot. It was helpful to have some backup.
All right. And so that time frame you'd be referencing is like the 2013 time frame? Because not around the time of Danny's death, you wouldn't have still been breastfeeding, would you?
If Lincoln was 3, no, I would have stopped maybe the year before.
Okay.
So maybe 2012, 2013.
Okay. And wasn't it true that around the time of the death, they were still doing this practice where they would prefer to drive you to and from South Florida?
I mean, not every time, but sometimes.
Okay. And would your mom sometimes enlist your brother Charlie to convince you to do certain things in your personal life?
Yeah, Clarissa, unfortunately, Dan's relationship with Amy, a more highly accomplished, more senior position holding, more, what is the word? Elite family, but not in a negative way. House in the Hamptons, designer brother, blah, blah, blah. Wendi wasn't going to sit back and let Dan go in 2 weeks, just say, Wendi who? Okay, well, I'm glad that's over with that psycho bitch. Not going to happen, Wendi, huh? Have to kill him.
Can't really think of an example of that.
Well, dating Dave was a big one. on some of the materials I had.
Yeah, people like Dave.
All right. And your mom really liked Dave.
Yeah, everyone liked Dave, but we were just friends.
Okay. Did she try? So she would try to get Charlie to convince you to date a certain person.
I don't think she was getting Charlie to convince me to date Dave. I think everyone liked Dave.
All right. And would she try to get Charlie to convince you to do certain things as far as your professional life? What jobs to take?
No, I don't
She
think
didn't
so.
do that. Would she try to get Charlie to do certain things like advise you on investment decisions, whether or not you were going to buy a house, for example?
I don't think so. I don't remember that. Danny and I made that decision together.
Once you had left Dan and you were living separately, did you look into purchasing a home here in Tallahassee?
I did, yeah.
And did your brother Charlie convince you not to do that?
I don't remember him convincing me not to. The only reason why I didn't was because I was waiting on the money from Danny from the settlement and he didn't pay it, so I couldn't afford the house.
And your mom didn't want you to buy the house, did she?
That's not true. My parents were looking to buy a house in Tallahassee as well.
Okay. Did you have strike? Generally speaking, does your mom manipulate the personal lives of her children?
No.
Is your mom, like, if she's really upset about something or worked up about something, is that something that your brother Charlie's going to hear a lot about? Who's going to hear more of it, you or Charlie?
Well, if my mom's upset with me, probably Charlie. And if she's upset with Charlie, probably me.
Okay, so do you get a lot of that? Do you hear a lot of
Oh, oh, I can't repeat the last joke. We have watched this testimony before, guys. What was the last joke? It was, oh, if I've been bad, like if I take the last piece of cake out of the fridge, she'll call Charlie up and say, oh, that Wendy's been so bad. And if Charlie drops his cell phone into his patient's mouth, she'll call me up and say, oh, that Charlie's been so bad. It's like this twee, ridiculous. Oh, God. Just want to kill her.
Well, let's go back. Let's go to before the murder. Did you get a lot of Donna just giving you an earful about what Charlie needs to be doing?
Probably at some point.
What was Charlie doing with his personal life? What did his personal life look like
At what point?
before the murder?
I mean, at what period of time before?
All of them. Wasn't it just a revolving door of girlfriends?
Right, but my mom didn't complain to me about that.
She didn't mind that with him.
I don't understand the question.
She didn't mind if he went from girl to girl to girl. That was acceptable.
She didn't really weigh in on it, no.
Who talked to her more, you or Charlie?
Charlie.
A lot more, right?
Yeah.
At the time of Dan Markel's murder, were your parents extremely angry with Dan?
At that point, no. They were in a much better place.
I want to direct your attention to an interview that was conducted on, I think this was your law enforcement interview. So July 18th, 2014. And I'm specifically for court and counsel looking at page 27, lines 11 and 12. I've got it open to the page, but you can flip around if you need to familiarize yourself.
Sure.
And I'll take that exhibit if you want.
Do you want me to flip through or just look at this one page?
If you'll just look at that one page for me, not that reminder. 27. Let me get to where you are. So page 27 there, lines 11 and 12, and I've got it highlighted for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Says, Ms. Adelson, my parents are, very angry toward him. Is that true?
Was that
Isn't that
true?
what you said? Your parents were very angry toward Dan.
Can I read the rest of the sentence?
Sure.
So I say, my parents are very angry towards him, but even when they're around my kids, they would never say a bad word about my kid's father.
And then on page 288, line 24 through.
Yeah, but that's in conflict with what you just said now, which was that they were in a much better place. So shut the fuck up.
Page 289, line 1. And that's going to be, yeah. Didn't you say, it's like my parents have more reason to dislike Danny than almost anyone else? Is that what you said?
That is what I said.
And that's because he hurt you, right?
And I was saying that in the context of talking to law enforcement.
What about those students, Wendy? What about those students? Did he give one a bad grade? She was like, in the interview, she's like, well, I think I think some people really like his method, and a lot of people don't like his method of teaching, of being a professor, which, you might as well just say, look, everyone thinks he's a dick.
Enforcement for hours and hours and trying to help them figure out who might be responsible.
Right. And who did you tell them might be responsible?
Well, I told them many, many people, but are you asking about this?
Many, many people. Well, you named Jeff, your brother, Amy Adler's ex-husband, and a student with a bad grade. That was all. That was it. Name one other person she mentioned as a potential lead. And Jeff's the only one she called a potential lead.
Particular moment right here.
You told them your family might be responsible.
Or potentially someone to do.
People are like, well, did she actually expect to frame Jeff for the murder? Well, maybe not, right? Maybe they just wanted cops to make sure that they spoke to Jeff so that Jeff could relay her statement about Charlie actually looking into a hitman, which was obviously not part of the family's plan for that to be said to Jeff, right? That was Wendy thinking all on her own 2 feet. So, you see what I mean? She points law enforcement to Jeff. And okay, he left a day early and had a really good alibi. But what if she didn't want to frame Jeff? She wanted the cops to speak to Jeff, and then Jeff, as part of his defense, would obviously say, listen, she told me that Charlie looked into this a year ago, and now it's happened. She wanted her brother and mother to go to jail forever. That was part of it for her.
Do with a former student or his current girlfriend. I mentioned lots of people that I thought could be responsible.
Okay. And of the lots of people that could have been responsible, your family was one.
Yep.
Because they might have done this thinking it would help you. I mean, that's what happened, right?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Your family had your ex-husband killed to try to help you, didn't they?
No, that's completely untrue.
And back to the divorce, the petition where Danny is responding to your petition for the motion to relocate. Are you familiar with that filing, or do you need to take a look at it?
I need to take a look at it.
All right, it's going to be page 79 through 101, and this is back to our exhibit 56. And again, that was the filing begins on page 79. I'm specifically interested in 82. And in this filing, doesn't Mr. Markel say, quote, the husband affirmatively alleges that the wife helped herself to non-marital assets, including money and stocks owned prior to marriage, as well as numerous personal non-marital belongings of the husband, such as luggage, bicycle, tennis racket, and family heirlooms. The wife has refused to return these items or to allow the husband into her home to see what other personal belongings were taken without his permission or acquiescence. So my point is, he's accusing you of theft in this paragraph.
Those are the words that are here, yes.
Yeah, and he's very adamantly objecting to your relocation, right? On page 82, it says the sole stated reason the wife seeks to relocate is so that she can be closer to her parents. Was being near your parents the sole reason that you wanted to relocate?
No,
It wasn't the sole reason stated in your petition?
it wasn't the sole reason stated in my petition, and it wasn't the sole reason that he and I talked about before I filed the motion to relocate.
Why was he so adamant and so confident that this was the real reason you wanted to be down there?
I think there's a lot of things in these pleadings that are not true. So just because it says something doesn't make it true.
Sure, but did he know that your mom was just grinding on this issue of trying to get you down there?
He would have had no idea.
He wouldn't have been, that wouldn't have been known to him?
I don't think so.
But he was accusing you in these pleadings of all kind of stuff, right? I mean, I'm not saying it's true, but hiding financial assets, failing to disclose things, kidnapping his kids in the middle of, his business trip, all those sorts of things, right?
Yes, he said lots of things.
All right. And you said a lot of things too. There's filings going both ways that are pretty venomous. Would you agree with that?
I would not agree with that.
Yours were pleasant.
I'm not saying divorce filings are pleasant, but mine were not venomous.
Okay. Did your mother, Donna Adelson, review the filing in which Dan Markel is accusing you
Hey, Carrie Brooke, good to see you.
of this theft and all this stuff?
I don't remember if she did.
What about the one where Dan Markel is asking that your mother not be permitted to have unsupervised visitation with the kids?
My mom never saw that because after he filed that, he then asked my parents to babysit the kids. My mom baked him banana bread, gave him a hug goodbye. So there was nothing truthful about that pleading that he filed, and my mom never saw it.
Why do you think he filed that?
He was really
Yeah, my mother baked him banana bread, babysit the kids, gave him a hug goodbye. They were in a much better place. They were looking to buy a house in Tallahassee. I mean, you expect anyone to believe this, Wendi? We've just read the email. You're ridiculous. You're a ridiculous, lying, murdering, cheating scumbag.
really angry at me for leaving him.
Okay. So he didn't really want to limit your mom's visitation with the kids.
No.
And
he
that's
asked for her to
evidence.
babysit after he filed that.
Evidenced by the banana bread. And so she didn't even know about that filing.
She never knew about it.
Okay. And when she laid all those options out in that email to you about other options that you could take to...
And she's shaping it like all of this litigation, this litigious action that Professor Markel was taking was because he was angry at her leaving him. That's not the case at all. We know from Tamara Demko that Dan was really cut up initially, but that didn't really last long. There was an initial period where he was trying to get her back and saying, don't break up our family. That's natural. That happens when a shock divorce occurs, right? But after he'd gotten over that, he realized that you'd completely fucked him over, stolen everything, tried to take his kids away forever, and he wasn't going to have it. He certainly didn't want you back. He had someone 1,000 times better than you, Wendi. Amy Adler, right?
Reload to secure the relocation as far as bribing. Remember that? Converting the Christian children to Christianity. Remember that suggestion?
I sure do.
Okay. What did she put in there that she viewed as your most non-negotiable and most important part of your divorce?
I don't know. Do you have something I can see?
States Exhibit 57. And it is page 1. Page 1, paragraph 2.
So you want me to read what she said here?
I want you to answer the question. What was the most important part?
Of the divorce for my mom.
Yes.
It says here that for her it was relocation.
All right. And did you have 2 8-hour mediation?
Yeah, for her it was relocation, but you were happy at your job, right, Wendy? You were relieved when the court said that your motion to relocate with the boys away from Professor Markel, you were relieved when that got denied, right? Yeah, right, Wendy.
Mediations in your divorce?
We had 2 very long mediations. I don't remember exactly how long they were, but they
Did
felt
they
like a very
result
long
in a
time.
resolution?
No.
Was Mr. Markel seeking to depose your
Wendy, you couldn't even go on a date to see a movie with Jeff without saying how the movie theater in Miami was better than the one in Tallahassee. You hate Tallahassee.
mom as part of the divorce?
I don't remember that.
Do you know if it ever happened?
I don't think it happened. I don't remember it.
Was the prospect of that upsetting to your mom?
I don't think so. I don't remember it. So I don't remember talking with her about it or
Did your mom call Dan any disparaging names around this time frame?
well, I just read them in the emails, but I
Okay.
don't remember them independently.
Okay. Did she call him an asshole?
Yes.
Well, Charlie's going to have his 12-year-old boy moment. I hope they show that on camera.
Narcissist? A
Yes.
bully?
Yes.
Religious zealot?
Yes.
Bastard?
That I don't remember.
Page 5.
Okay. Is it page 5?
It's like he's in assembly, right? He's in assembly and he's put a whoopee cushion under the friggin' teacher's chair or something. Even looks like he's in a school uniform, prep school uniform.
From the first email?
Yes, if you'll just go through by the physical pages.
I see. Yes.
I'm sorry, what was your answer?
Yes.
Fucker?
Yes.
But in all the filing,
Hey, Charlie, you're not hiding it well, man. We know that thing where you're about to collapse into a fit of giggles and you have to touch your face just to regain control over it. We've all been there, man, but not for 25 years.
things made on your behalf by the different lawyers that you had, and all of the emails that your mom sent, he was never described as abusive.
I mean, he was described as emotionally abusive. Yes.
Can you show me where he was described as emotionally abusive in any of those items?
Well, not by my mom, but in the pleadings.
Okay, show me that.
It's going to take me a while to find it.
Okay, well, it's
You want me to-
not in there, but you can get back to me
Well,
with it.
it is in there.
Objection, Your Honor.
What's your objection?
The comment, she's not testifying.
Hold on, please approve.
Oh, sidebar.
Of which filing it might be located.
Comment by Ms. Kappelman. You may continue.
So would you have to review the whole file in order to find that, or could you give us a starting point of which filing it might be located in?
It might be under the petition to relocate. It might be under the initial divorce proceedings.
Okay.
It wouldn't be in emails from my mom, but it would take a while to find it. It might be in the depositions.
Okay, did you view yourself as being stuck here in Tallahassee once the relocation was denied?
I didn't. I mean, I had a really nice life here. I did not view myself as being stuck.
Would you please turn to page 176 in that exhibit in front of you? I think it's highlighted for you. Did you describe yourself in that filing as being stuck in Tallahassee?
I don't see it. You said it was highlighted, but there's nothing highlighted.
Okay. 176 on page. I didn't highlight it for you. Okay. Just a moment.
I see the word stuck. I found it.
Okay. So did you describe, at least in one occasion, being stuck in Tallahassee?
No, can I read the sentence?
Sure.
So it says, the husband has made it difficult for the wife with her colleagues at her current position due to his statements and actions. And the husband's intent is to relocate to a larger area at some point. So the wife is merely stuck in Tallahassee until the husband decides that the time is right for him to leave.
All right.
Meaning-
And had he accepted a job anywhere else by the time that he was murdered?
No, he hadn't yet been offered a job, but he was always looking.
Okay. So he was just going to move and just let you have the kids at that point?
He probably would have done what I did, which is have a conversation and see if it was a place that made sense for both of us to live.
And would you have moved to wherever he got a great job and started a new life there?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay. Did you like Tallahassee?
I did.
And you said, I think you did say this, but
So if Dan Markel got a job in Washington D.C. or NYU or Harvard, how would that fall into what Donna was going on about in that email? Where when he has his annual meeting at NYU and you have your AGM at your not-for-profit whatever, who's going to watch the kids? The whole thing's about family support, right? What you're saying is in conflict, Wendi.
let me clarify. Was your mom aware of the order denying relocation?
My mom was aware of the order denying
And
relocation.
what about your brother, Charlie? Was he aware of that as well?
I'm
If you
sure
know?
my mom would have said something to him.
All right. So did your mom suggest any ways that you might coerce Dan Markel to let you move with the kids to South Florida?
Yes, I think we talked about that before.
We did. And for this, I'm referring back to those emails. And in particular, the bribe. So another bribe to get him to allow relocation. I'm on page 5 of the first email for the defense. Another bribe to get him to allow relocation should be the offer of plane tickets so that he can fly back and forth, right? So you're going to potentially offer this big monetary benefit that would allow him to fly back and forth to work. Is that the idea?
I never said that I was going to do any of that.
Okay, was that the idea that your mom had?
That was the idea.
All right, and the amount of the bribe is going to be, or was at least discussed as being $1 million. Is that right?
That is what they said.
Okay, and did you agree with that?
No.
Would that have worked?
I have no idea if it would have worked, but
You think he might have taken $1 million to let his kids go?
well, he wasn't letting his kids go. He would have moved to South Florida and he would have commuted back and forth to his job. So maybe,
Well, then why wasn't it offered?
because I didn't want to do it.
All right, what about the idea that you could try to threaten Dan to convert the kids to Christianity so that they can fit into the Bible Belt here in Tallahassee. Is that something your mom suggested in these emails?
My mom did suggest that.
Okay, and specifically, this is on page 7 of the exhibit. Let Gibbers know that your children will be baptized in the Catholic Church. Have a picture made of them in front of the church, all that kind of thing. That's what your mom suggested at one time.
She did, yes.
Okay, and did you do any of those things?
No, I don't even think I responded to it.
Do you know whether the defendant, your brother Charlie, was supportive of the plan to convert them or pose as converting them to Christianity?
I have no idea. I don't think he was particularly involved in this round of my mom's emails.
On page 11 of the exhibit, there's an indication from your mom that Charlie at least has discussed this with her and maybe is somewhat supportive. Charlie brought up a good point when he said that Americans were dropped behind enemy lines during World War II wearing Nazi uniforms to get what they wanted. They had a job to get done and they did what they needed to do to accomplish it. You have a job to get done in a very short time frame to accomplish it. If you dressed your kids up in Hitler Youth uniforms and brought them down here, I could care less if it was an act of defiance that would show Gibbers that he's, all caps and bold, not in control. So it just seems like your mom was pretty extreme about this situation of getting you relocated. Can you agree with that?
Yeah.
All right, and Charlie was at least consulted on it or had offered some information about it.
Well, that was my mom's rendition, so I don't know if that's what actually happened or that was her perception.
Sure. Were you involved in the effort to consult a lawyer about the bribe and whether that was going to be legal?
I wasn't the lawyer consulted in that.
No. Were you involved in consulting a lawyer with your mom? Okay. Do you know for sure if any financial offer was or was not made to Dan Markel?
I couldn't say for sure if they made it to Danny without me knowing, but I don't think so.
Is that something they would do, is try to negotiate with him behind your back or deal with this situation behind your back?
I don't think so. I think I would have known. Danny probably would have told me.
But you definitely didn't extend any of
Yeah, Carrie. Wendy's got this thing where she really shapes every syllable of a word, and I hate it.
these offers or threats.
No.
When was the divorce final?
The summer of 2013.
All right, I'm going to switch gears for a minute and talk about phone stuff. Was your cell phone collected by the police in this case after Dan was shot?
I gave the police my cell phone and asked them to search it if it could be useful.
All right, and around the time of the murder,
Yeah, I also asked them to search my car and to count the number of Cheerios that I definitely didn't put there myself to make it look like a normal mom car that hadn't been cleaned in a while, just like I hadn't cleaned my hands since 12 o'clock that day and made a point of mentioning it 17 times in my interview.
was your number 954-803-0079?
It was.
And can you agree that the numbers, let me show you an exhibit. 59, I believe. You will? Okay. Well, I want to explain what it is. Okay. Yeah, so I talked a lot about converting to Christianity, but I didn't mention what religion you are. We talked about Dan being more religious than you are, but we didn't talk about what religion you are. So could you explain that to the jury, please?
Sure, I'm Jewish.
And Dan was as well, right?
And Danny was Jewish as well.
Okay. So I had this exhibit 59. This is not 59.
Hey, Wendy, why don't you show the jury what you wore to your son's bar mitzvah? I'm kind of reformed Jewish, yeah. I go to my son's bar mitzvah in a bordello costume.
Yes, that's what we did. One moment. All right, you may not be able to do this, but states 59, I've got phone numbers attributed to your family members. Obviously, you don't know the other people. Are those phone numbers accurate, if you know, for the time
Yes.
frame around the murder?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and then you are also familiar with the wiretap that was conducted in this case?
Yes.
And did I provide you a disc labeled disc 107 and ask you to review some calls and see if you could authenticate the voices on those calls?
Yes.
All right, and for that, I made you a little spreadsheet, which I've marked as 61.
Yeah, Rabbit, I don't think Georgia asks a single question that she doesn't know the answer to. I mean, I think that's a pretty general rule for lawyers anyway when they're examining a witness.
And were you able to initial by each call indicating that the highlighted names are the voices of the people they purport to be?
Yes.
Judge, at this time, I ask to move to evidence state 61.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
State 61 is admitted.
All right, and if we can shift back to, we talked about your divorce being final. Once the divorce was final, weren't there still a lot of filings that went back and forth between both you and Dan Markel?
Yes and no. The divorce was final. We had a final settlement agreement.
Mhm.
The agreement was I take my name off the title to the house. He pays me half the value to the house. So for within the first week, I went and took my name off the title to the house, and I waited until October when he was supposed to get back to me. He never paid me the money. And so I called and I asked what happened. That was the deal. And he said, I have compelling reasons. I'm not going to pay you. And so I made one filing, a motion to enforce the settlement agreement.
Yeah, what happened, Wendy, is he realized that you'd emptied the Schwab accounts, stolen his Holocaust Memorial heirloom diamond, taken half the dining chairs, sawn the dining table in half and taken that. You know, taken half the mustard out of the jar, the good mustard.
Because he didn't do it.
Right, so you believe that he owed you money pursuant to the settlement agreement? And he was
Yes.
in violation of the settlement agreement?
Yes.
And he was of the belief that you had withheld some financial things from your affidavit, and maybe he didn't owe you the money that you had previously agreed on because you had not been honest in the initial disclosures, right?
He accused my attorney of having unclean hands and committing a crime.
Yeah, and assisting you in withholding this money from the
Correct.
disclosures. Okay. All right, so I want to,
Yeah, and then her attorney that she'd probably conned into this dodgy game anyway, saying, yeah, come on, this will be easy. He's got a broken heart. We'll take him for everything he's got. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll get this through. Yeah, she realized that her career was on the line and said, listen, I'm out. You're on your own. I'm not doing this to the judge. I work in this town.
to ask you about the motion to enforce marital settlement agreement and hold Dan Markel in contempt of court. That was filed, you may need to refresh your memory, October 31st, 2013. Give you the exhibit 56 and have you take a look at, this is going to be on 338.
Hey, thanks so much to Cinderella, who just bought us a coffee on buymeacoffee.com and became a coffee member, guys. Welcome, Cinderella. If anyone else would like to support the channel, there's a link to buymeacoffee.com in the description for this video where you can buy us a coffee.com. Also, Patreon memberships, the best there is, link in the description. Or there's YouTube memberships and YouTube super chat, super likes, super thanks, super stickers. Fantastic ways to support the channel. Also, in the description, a link to our social networks, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Discord, the best community there is around not only the Markel case, but mainly the Markel case for all you Adelson addicts out there, but also other cases and just general stuff. There's a whole community going on that if you're not in, you're missing out on. So join the Discord. It's free. Link in the description. See you all there after the show. And like the video.
All right, could you just read the title, the caption of that filing?
Motion to enforce marital settlement agreement and to show cause why the former husband should not be held in contempt of court.
What does it mean to be held in contempt of court?
It means not to be doing what the court has asked you to do.
What can happen to you if you're held in contempt of court?
I don't know, really.
Could you be jailed?
Yeah, I don't know. It's 2023, so I've been a lawyer for 17 years, and I don't know what can happen to you if you're held in contempt of court. I know that from my cousin Vinny.
I don't know.
All right. And when was this file? This was you filing it, right? I mean, you're the client.
Right.
You're asking that he be held in contempt. And
I
you don't know
filed
what
this-
that means?
At the time I filed, which was 10 years ago.
Oh, okay. Well, refresh your
I
recollection.
forget everything after 10 years. I don't remember if we did or didn't rent a house before we bought the place on Trescott. I have no idea what was in the filings of my hugely drama-filled, contentious divorce that cost hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Couldn't tell you. Don't know. It was 10 years ago. What? It's like Stephanie Lazarus going, oh, gee, I don't know. I mean, that was a long time ago. Yeah, sure. I'm a highly decorated detective for the LAPD and their fine arts division, but I lose my memory about anything that happened a long time ago.
Section with the
Okay.
document goes through 340.
Okay, I have it.
Okay. So what was it you were asking for in this motion?
It was what I just mentioned. So basically, I took my name off the title to the house. He never paid. This was asking him.
Good point, Veggie Girl. The lawyers would not let her name come off the title until she was paid. You know, you get the money and then you pay. You know, it's probably got an escrow thing, right? Where you put the money into a third party that both sides agree that they can trust to be neutral and fair. And they hold the money until the title is removed, and then the money is distributed to the appropriate holder. Oh, I took the title off the house after about a week and he didn't pay. I said to him, what happened? You were supposed to pay. The judge said you should pay. Oh, yeah, right, Wendy.
Him to pay.
Cough up.
And my parents were looking to buy a house in Tallahassee. They couldn't wait to move and live in the swamp.
The money or be held in contempt.
Yep.
Okay. And what day was
Charlie was trying to sell his jet ski so he could buy a pig and enter the Tallahassee pig race.
this filed?
This was filed on October 31st, 2013.
All right, so Halloween of 13, and that's the same day that you backed out of the contract to purchase the house in Tallahassee, right?
I don't
Remember
remember what day that was.
Okay. Do you remember that it was your brother, Charlie, that specifically convinced you to back out of that particular house deal?
I don't actually. I don't remember that.
Approach and see if these text messages refresh your recollection. Okay. And you may have to look around for context, but I'm specifically looking at this one.
Okay.
Hey, Tay says, in her opinion, Donna baked a banana bread and hugged Dan because she knew he would be killed soon. I don't think there was any banana bread, any hug, nothing. You know, Dan was hugely pissed off with Donna and in the middle of forcing her not to see the children without a court-appointed supervisor, right? There was no banana bread. This is the first trial we've heard of any of this because it's an Adelson on trial. It's never come up before. Why not? Didn't come up in the interview, didn't come up in Sigfredo Katie, didn't come up in Katie 2. It's like the invitation with the bullet bourbon. Please bring a bottle of bullet bourbon that she fucked up and bought, what was it? Rye. Bullet rye. It's all stuff that's been fabricated for this trial that they know can't be proven either way, right? Who are they going to ask? They're going to go to Dan and say, did Donna bring you banana bread? Can't be proven, right? But can't be disproven either.
Okay.
Does that refresh your recollection?
Honestly, I mean, I can read what's here, but I still don't remember.
Don't really
independently.
remember. And after pulling the plug on the house, there were some emails where you were saying you can't answer the phone, you're crying too hard about the house. Like you seem genuinely upset about pulling the plug on the house, but now you don't remember it?
Well, it's been 10 years.
Sure.
So a lot of terrible things have happened since then. It's hard to remember.
Don't recall.
I really liked the house and was excited about it, but it was more than I can afford at the time. That's what I remember, is talking with the real estate agent and having her say we'd find another house, and it wasn't the right one.
Would you have any reason to dispute that occurred on Halloween of 2013?
No, it probably did. I just don't remember.
Okay. And then a few months later, on February 14th of 2014.
Same day that Charlie asked Katie if she knew someone that could rough someone up, right? Halloween 2013.
There was another filing. I want to draw your attention to page 379. And ask you what that document is.
Do you want me to read the title of the document?
Yes, please.
Former husband's counter motion to enforce marital settlement agreements, financial provisions, and incorporated motion for sanctions.
Do you remember this filing?
I don't remember this filing, but in anticipation of my testimony today, I refreshed and reread it.
Okay, and he accuses you in this filing
I stepped into the memory machine and I had my memory refreshed. It was 3 easy procedures.
of breaching the marital settlement agreement in various ways, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and committing a fraud upon the court by omitting the $200,000 in assets from your financial affidavit.
That is
in
what he
there?
was alleging.
And ask the court to sanction you.
Yes, that's what he
And-
said.
Okay, so again,
Amazing how many people make stuff up about this family, huh? Dan was alleging these things, and then Jeff came in and made he was a jilted lover, and he made up the celebration dinner, and he made up the fight in Gainesville, and that was real. He flew into a rage in Gainesville. He went through my phone and started talking in legal terminology.
you're both seeking the court to sanction each other. I mean, them's fighting words and lawyer terms, right?
Well, I was filing a motion to enforce a settlement agreement. So I don't think that's really fighting words. That's just asking the court to complete what it already said it wanted to do.
Okay. And on page 379, Dan suggests that the court send a strong message about your malfeasance by awarding him the entirety of the undisclosed assets of over 200.
Yeah, guys, but how could you ever forget an occasion as sweet as a banana bread gift? Babysitting banana bread gift for Dan and a hug goodbye, because they were in a better place, a better banana bread place.
$100,000, right?
That is what he asked for.
Okay, and then on March 10th of 2014, on page 437, do you respond with your motion to dismiss the former husband's counter motion to enforce the marital settlement agreement that we just talked about?
I'm sorry, what is the page number?
437.
I'm not familiar with this, but do you want me to read through it?
Could you read the caption aloud, please?
Sure. Motion to dismiss the former husband's counter motion to enforce marital settlement agreements, financial provisions, and incorporated motion for sanctions for failure to state a cause of action, and motion to strike as a sham pleading, and motion to strike as redundant, immaterial, impertinent, and scandalous pleading.
And then if you'll go to page 439, do you see a paragraph that begins, the vast majority of the former husband's motion?
Hey, dickhead Wendy, redundant, immaterial, and scandalous are completely synonymous. You don't need to use all 3 words, okay? That's poorly written, okay? A judge is going to yawn at that line. It sounded good in your head, Wendy, but redundant, scandalous, and what was it? Immaterial all mean the same thing.
Actually, don't see that. On page 439?
Yes, ma'am. I think I have it pulled out.
On number 8.
Yeah, the vast majority of the former husband's motion contains allegations that are redundant, immaterial, impertinent, and scandalous.
Oh, impertinent as well. Another one. Why not 4? Let's throw in some more. Synonyms.
Yada, yada. He's making false and immaterial statements against you. His pleadings only prove that he is a disgruntled
I love how Georgia says yada, 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 whatever, blah, 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 blah.
former husband who cannot move past this disillusion. So it's getting personal. Would you agree with that?
My attorney here is responding to his pleading, which was over the top.
And this is over the top, right?
I don't think so, no.
Then 6 days later, Dan files another motion seeking action against your mother. And that's the one we've already touched on. That's page 441. Is that right?
Page 441.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that's what we talked about.
Okay. Former husband's counter motion for enforcement of marital settlement agreement on.
That's what I really like about this case, Clarissa, is that with each trial, there's a slightly different area of focus of the same central context, right? So we build up this global view over time and just we have a much more complete picture of seeing things in the round, right? It's kind of unique in that way. And there's more trials to come, at least 2, right? It's the gift that keeps on giving, unless you're a member of the Markel family, of course, and then you just want to get it done and, you know, get reunited with your murdered son's children. That would be nice. Let's hope that happens for them.
Parenting issues and motion for contempt and sanctions. Here he's alleging, again, more violations of the marital settlement agreement, including communication between he and the boys. He wasn't happy with how much communication was happening, failing to keep him informed of where his kids are, failure to communicate about parenting decisions like the kids' schooling, diet, and extracurricular activities, and refusal to provide him access to the kids on their birthdays. So he's complaining about a lot of things associated with this, not just money stuff, it's parenting stuff too, right?
That's right.
And isn't it in this motion that,
One moment, Ms. Councilman.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I said that's
Yeah, that's right. The judge didn't admit the invitation. Why not? Surely that would be quite easy to verify. You go to the person that sent it and you say, did you send this invitation? For some reason, it doesn't seem that that was able to be confirmed so that it would be known to be legitimate. Thereby, it didn't come into evidence.
that's right.
isn't it in this motion that Dan Markel seeks to enjoin you from allowing your mother from spending time with the kids without supervision?
Can you please show me which page that's on?
450. Do you see a paragraph beginning on 3 specific occasions?
Banana. What? Banana bread. It tastes the same. I'll tell you where it doesn't taste the same is Egypt, where all the best bananas come from.
Yes, I do.
Could you read that, please?
8A, on 3 specific occasions in November 2013, the children informed Mr. Markel, Abba, Dad, Grandma says you're stupid. When queried as to why Grandma, the maternal grandmother, would say such things, the children replied jointly that it is because she says you are trying to take her sunshines away from her.
And continue, please.
In December 2013,
You don't have to say the name. Your child.
my child, the younger son, further stated to Mr. Markel in front of the former wife, Abba, Grandma says she hates you. The children were visiting with their grandparents at that time.
Mr. Markel is concerned that continued exposure to such.
Well, here you go. Our moderator's just sent the invitation over, guys. Have a look at this. Yeah, it looks like Sarah Boone's advert for a lawyer, doesn't it? Kind of artsy. You're invited, so please come on over to a Stack the Shelf bar. Hang on. How do you read this? I got lost. You're invited to a Stock the Bar couples shower for Lauren and Jamie. Friday, July 18th. Backyard gathering, and then there's a little tag up here that says, help the bride and groom stock the bar for their wedding by bringing a bottle of Bullet Bourbon or your favorite wine or spirit. Yeah, couldn't come into evidence though, could it?
Negativity forms a foundation for parental alienation. Is that what he was alleging about your mom?
That is what he is alleging in this document, yes.
And this was filed in court.
He filed this in court.
On what date?
Yeah, Udi's here to sort out the likes situation. Let's get some likes rolling in, guys. We're here. You're here. We're having a good time. We hope you are too. Leave a like.
It will be at the front of the document, right?
Yes, ma'am. Page 441.
This was filed on March 26th, 2014.
And this was the filing that never got ruled on, right?
I don't believe there was any ruling on
And
this.
that's because Dan Markel was killed before the hearing, right?
I don't know when it was scheduled for.
It wasn't even scheduled yet.
Okay.
It was waiting to be scheduled when he was killed. Is it fair to say your mom was worried about this motion?
No, my mom never knew about this motion. And as I mentioned before, Danny asked my mom to babysit after filing this motion. So I don't really believe anything that's written here.
Well, you forwarded this.
So Danny filed a motion to have the court say that Donna couldn't see the kids without supervision, and then asked Donna to come and look after the kids. Shut the fuck up, Wendi. You know? We need Dan Rashbaum up here. Does that make any sense?
Motion to your mother
I don't believe I
via
did.
email. In fact, you forwarded.
It's like her line about, was the celebration dinner a celebration that the father of your children had been murdered? No. I hadn't eaten or left the house in a month. And when I finally felt ready to leave the house and eat after a month, Charlie said, let's celebrate. I know. Let's celebrate the fact that you're ready to leave the house and eat by leaving the house and going to eat. Idiots.
This motion to 12 different people. Your mom, Jeffrey Lacoste, Renee Griggs, Tova Walsh, Morgan Honeycutt, Gary Cohen, Miguel Edmondson, Trey Hubler, Robert Adelson, Rachel Frank, Jared Reich, and some MEHULNYC at yahoo.com. So if you weren't worried about this, why'd you send it to all these people?
I couldn't really say. It's been a long time.
And then a couple days later, we know what happened.
So this was in March. So a couple days, I sent it to people in July when Danny
You
was killed.
you sent it a couple days later.
I sent
That email to 12 different people.
in March.
Yes.
Hey, thanks KLK for the super sticker. Good to see you. I got to get ahead on these comments, guys. Sorry, I'm going to have to skip ahead a little here. No, Rabbit, I don't think it doesn't make any sense that, I mean, the agreement was to give Wendi the right of first refusal, not Donna. And he'd filed a motion against Donna having unsupervised visits with the kids. He's not going to then contact her and say, hey, can you come and watch the kids so that you can disparage me to my own sons in my absence? That's not real life. That didn't happen. What do we got? A sidebar here? Skipping. Oh, the 1,000 faces of a murderer. Just the way he slouches in his chair. I mean, it's even he sits like an asshole.
Everyone can be seated. We'll resume with the examination of the witness in 5 minutes.
Oh, 5-minute break.
Something to 12 people, which I didn't, that was not.
Does anybody know who this woman is? Right here? Come on, guys. Yeah, you better stretch into your fake skin, Wendy. Thanks a lot, Rebecca. Come on, Wendy. What's going on?
Gentlemen, you can resume your examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. I want to talk a little bit about your brother, Charlie. Is he an older brother or a younger brother to you?
I'm the youngest of 3, so I have 2 older brothers. They're both older than me.
All right, and he's the middle child, Charlie?
That's right.
All right, and are you closer to Charlie or to the other brother?
I'm closer to Charlie.
How much time were you spending with Charlie back in 2013 and 2014?
Not a lot of time. I was in Tallahassee. He was in South Florida.
Did he work a lot?
He worked a lot, yeah.
Did he work at one location or travel around?
Amy, I think kids were allowed to the Stock the Bar party. Some, backyard, quite early. I think it was 6:30 to 8:30, right? Seems kind of funny. You'd think at least a few bottles would get open. I guess that's okay.
He would travel around. He worked at multiple locations.
Was he pretty successful in his job?
Yeah, he came up with a great business model for what he did, and he worked really hard and was very successful.
Was your brother known to carry a lot of cash?
Yeah. He came up with a great business model of, harassing women. Hey, get her number, get her number, get her number, and I'll do the work on your teeth for free. And then at each dental office, I'll offer to have my mother cook their books. Yeah, they'll just pay for the materials, but we won't pay the supplier for the materials, so we'll be able to keep the money from the IRS. And our business model, it's called Clean Teeth, Clean Money.
I know, he had cash on him sometimes. I never saw large sums of cash.
Did you ever see stapled cash?
I never saw stapled cash.
Were you familiar with his practice of stapling cash together in stacks?
No, I never knew about that.
Was your brother Charlie protective of you?
When I was a little kid. Yeah.
What about as an adult?
Isn't it?
Bullshit, you never knew about that, Wendy. That is not just Charlie's thing. That is an Adelson thing, and all the money in all the safes are stapled. You know about that. Why are you lying about that? You're just distancing yourself from that money.
Adult? Not particularly.
Is it fair to say that during the year or so leading up to the murder of Dan Markel that your brother did not like your ex?
I mean, I don't think he probably didn't like him, but I also think he didn't spend a lot of time thinking about him.
Did he ever like him?
Yeah, I mean, I think they got along fine.
What does Charlie say in his testimony? Did you like Professor Markel? He was always, I think he was like a normal guy. My sister would, nice guy. Little on the nerdy.
Did your brother ever mention hiring a hitman to kill Dan Markel?
No.
I'm going to turn your attention to your law enforcement interview, and I'm referring to page 25, lines 13 through 15.
Rabbit, I'm not saying that they didn't have the right to first refusal, but it would apply to Wendi, not his mother, that he's filing motions against to prevent her from accessing the boys unsupervised. It doesn't seem at all logical to me that Dan Markel would file a petition to the court to, remove, to disallow Donna the right to see the boys unsupervised, and then have her babysit the boys unsupervised in pretty much the same week. I mean, you've got something that supports that, I'd be happy to see it, and I'll eat my words. I don't have any facts, but I think it's pretty clear that that seems like a really illogical thing to do.
Send me under tab 1. So this tab here.
Okay.
All right, so page 25. You find it?
Yes.
Quote, "It was always his joke. He said, I looked into hiring a hitman and it was cheaper to get you this TV." Is that what he said?
That was a joke that he made, yes.
And hiring the hitman, that was to kill Dan Markel, right? That was the joke.
That was the joke that he made in poor taste, yes.
Not to kill someone else.
No. Well, he never used his name.
Okay. Well,
He never used his name. He doesn't need to, Wendi, okay? He's not going to hire you a hitman to take out a hit on someone of your own choosing, anyone. Like a blank check for a hitman. Just here's one free token for a hitman for you to use however you see fit. And I'm giving that to you as a divorce present. No, the context says it all, Wendi. It's a divorce present. He's making a joke to give you a divorce present and says, oh, I was going to get you a hitman for your divorce present, but this TV was cheaper. He doesn't need to say the name, Wendi. You're talking shit.
Well, he's hiring you the TV because it's cheaper as a divorce present than a hitman. Who else would he be hitting with the hitman?
I never really thought about it because it was not a thing that he meant. He just made a bad joke.
Well, you repeated the joke, didn't you?
He repeated the joke.
Didn't you also repeat the joke?
To other people?
Yes, like Jeff Lacasse.
I never said that to Jeff Lacasse.
You didn't tell Jeff Lacasse that your brother got you that TV as a divorce present because it was cheaper than hiring a hitman.
I may have repeated that joke in the context of the TV, yes.
All right, and who is Jeff Lacasse?
Jeff Lacasse was a person I dated in 2013.
And did you tell Jeffrey Lacasse shortly before the actual murder that your brother really had looked into hiring a hitman?
I did not.
Did he buy you a TV as a divorce present?
Did my brother buy me a TV as a divorce present?
Yes, sorry, I should have
Yes.
clarified that. And was the TV that your brother bought you as a divorce present the same TV that was being repaired on the morning of the murder?
Yes.
Did your mom text you that morning that the repair guy was coming to repair the TV?
I don't remember that.
Why would your mom have been involved in your TV repair appointment?
Because I didn't purchase the TV. The TV was a gift that my brother paid for, but my mom went and got it and he reimbursed her. So the contract would have been under her name and her number. So when the repair guy was coming, they might have called or texted the number on the account instead of my number.
Okay. And after the murder, do you recall going to a dinner where you got sick at the table?
It was about a month later. And yes, I remember.
Where did that dinner occur? Was that here in Tallahassee or somewhere else?
No, it was in Miami.
All right. And was it like out at a restaurant?
It was at a restaurant.
All right. And when we say you got sick at the table, did you actually vomit at the table?
I threw up at the table.
All right. And did you ever hear your brother refer to that particular dinner as a celebratory dinner?
No,
Did you tell Jeffrey Lacoste that your brother called that a celebratory dinner?
I did not.
Was that a...
One moment, Ms. Kellum.
Yes, sir.
No objection.
Hearsay.
Overruled.
Was that dinner a celebration of the murder of your ex-husband?
Absolutely not. That dinner was the first time I left my house after over a month because I was terrified. And if it was a celebration of anything, it was a celebration that I was willing to leave the house and eat a meal.
Do you know Catherine Magbanua, or have you ever met her?
I have met her.
Did you have an independent friendship with her, or did you only know her through your brother?
I only knew her through my brother.
What was her relationship to your...
I love that George is bringing this up right now. Straight after the context of the throwing up at Uvia on the dinner table, she goes straight on to Catherine Magbanua. She knows, man. Georgia knows.
brother?
They dated at some point.
Was there anything unusual about her as a girlfriend from your viewpoint at the time?
No,
So she seemed like a typical kind of girl that he would date?
she did.
Did you meet all his girlfriends?
I don't know. I met many girlfriends.
Okay. Did you meet Whitney Kick?
I did.
Okay. And Whitney Kick was after Catherine Magbanua, correct?
I believe so.
All right. And there's a photograph, I'm sure you recall, of you on the beach with Catherine Magbanua. Do you recall when that photo was taken?
I do. It was Father's Day 2014, so 9 years ago.
June 15th of 2014.
That sounds right.
So about a month before the murder.
That sounds right.
Where was this photo taken?
It was in Miami. I went down to visit my dad for Father's Day.
Approaching and showing you what I've marked as states 35. Is this that photograph? And I've attached the data associated with it.
Yes.
Okay. Is fair and accurate copy of that photograph?
Yes.
Judge, I'd ask to move into evidence states 35.
Any objection?
No objection.
States 35 and exhibit.
Permission to publish.
You may.
Publish 35. Right on. Input. Can you? Okay. Oh, this is shot. Yeah. All right, is that you in the center?
That's me.
Which one's Catherine Magbanua?
The one on the left, our left in the picture.
And how long had Ms. Magbanua been dating your brother at the time this photo was taken?
I have no idea.
How many times had you met Ms. Magbanua at the time this was taken?
I think once before.
Okay, how many times did you hang out with her total?
Just these 2 times. Once at the dinner when I met her, and then once at the beach for an hour.
Was the relationship between your brother and Catherine Magbanua serious, if you know?
I don't know. I mean, 10 years ago, was it serious? Not too serious.
never stood out to you during that time frame as like, oh, this is the one.
No.
All right, so you mentioned you thought Whitney Kick was after
Yeah, it didn't really stand out to be this is the one. It was just another Asian girl, easy to control. You know,
Catherine Magbanua. What about June Mchinda? Do you know which one that is?
When you say, do I know which one that is? She's not in the picture.
No, ma'am. You're one of your brother's girlfriends, June Mchinda. Do you know her?
I met someone named June.
Okay, and would you agree that was also after Catherine Magbanua?
Yes, that would have been after.
When did you learn that Catherine Magbanua was blackmailing your brother for the murder of your ex-husband?
Today.
So he never told you?
No,
You testified in Catherine Magbanua's murder trial last year, didn't you?
I did, yes.
And she was convicted
She was convicted, yes.
of murder,
Yes, of murder.
of murdering Dan Markel,
Of murdering my
The
children's
crime?
father, yes.
a crime for which she apparently is innocent because she was just a conduit for Sigfredo Garcia. Did you learn that today along with all of us?
Well, I learned that someone made that argument. I don't know whether it's true or not true.
Okay, you have no knowledge of it.
I have no knowledge.
In all the years this has been pending,
In all of the years this has been pending,
your brother has known who killed your child's father, and you didn't know.
I did not know.
Do you know why Catherine Magbanua was on the payroll at the Adelson Institute?
I believe that she worked there.
What did she do there?
I know my brother met her at a dental office, so I'm guessing administrative work of some kind.
Did you ever observe her doing administrative work there?
No.
How did the killers in this case know that Dan Markel was planning to leave town the day after the killing?
I have no idea.
You knew he was planning to leave town the next day, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Did you convey that information to anyone?
Absolutely not.
To your knowledge, did your brother have that information?
I don't know why he would have known that.
So if the killers were told it has to be done today because he's leaving town tomorrow, we don't know how they knew that.
I have no idea how they knew that.
But it would have to come from someone familiar with Dan Markel's schedule, wouldn't it?
They would have to find out somehow. I don't know how.
Prior to Dan Markel's murder, when were you last in South Florida? Was it this trip that's pictured here?
No, because it was my dad's 70th birthday in early July, so I would have gone down to celebrate his birthday.
Okay, when's Dad's birthday?
July 5th.
How long were you down there for that July 5th trip?
I don't really remember offhand, but my guess is about a week.
Did you see Charlie Adelson on that trip?
Yes. We celebrated my dad's birthday, the whole family and friends, everybody.
Did you see Catherine Magbanua on that trip?
I don't remember if she was there or not.
Did Dad have a birthday party?
Dad had a birthday party.
Was it a big birthday?
It was his 70th birthday.
And was Catherine Magbanua at the party?
I don't remember seeing her there.
Do you remember seeing June Mchinda at the party?
I don't.
Or Whitney Kick at the party?
I don't.
So it could have been any one of them or none of them.
Or none of them. I don't remember there being a girlfriend.
yeah, it could have been any one of them, or none of them, or all of them. It was Charlie and 15 Asian women.
With him at the party.
All right. So you said the birthday was what, July 5th?
It would have been July 5th.
Okay. And do you know on what day you celebrated?
Maybe his birthday. If it was, I felt like it was a weekend. So maybe if July 5th was a Saturday, then it was on his actual birthday.
Okay. Tell me about the event. You said there were family and friends there. About how many people?
Maybe like 50 people.
What was on the menu?
We had paella.
Yay! We had paella. How come you remember that, Wendy? Oh, I remember because you're the only one that speaks Spanish, and the paella chef couldn't speak any English. Right, yeah. An exclusive paella chef in Miami couldn't speak a word of English, and the entire function depended on your multilingual skills in order to go ahead. Yeah? Give us a demonstration, Wendi.
Were you responsible for securing the paella, or is that your brother's job or someone else?
I didn't arrange it, but I speak Spanish and no one else could communicate with him. So I spent some time helping him. That's why I remember what we.
Yep, Donna and Harvey Adelson hired Hugo, the illiterate. You know, he couldn't speak through his own mustache. Couldn't understand a word of English. Does that make any sense, guys? Do you think exclusive high-rise apartment dwellers, Donna and Harvey, are going to hire a non-speaking paella chef for this big event? It's ridiculous.
Okay. Did your dad get any big gifts for his 70th?
I don't remember.
So there was no big lead up and discussion about some big gift that you were involved in, at least?
I don't remember.
Hector Salamanca. Nice one, Riding.
I don't remember if I gave him a present. I hope I did.
Do you remember what anybody gave him for that birthday?
I really don't.
Was the murder of Dan Markel your dad's big
Rabbit,
gift?
Rabbit, it's okay, hon. Look, everything's cool. No one's mad at you. I'm having a weird day as well. It's the heat. No aircon. Yeah, and I haven't been on streams for a while. I think it's going to take me a couple of days to get back in the game properly. I don't think it's been a very good show. Sorry, guys. But it's also, you know, Wendi Adelson really grinds my gears as well. So with the heat and the Wendi, it's just a bit much.
I mean, that's.
But don't worry, Rabbit. Stop apologizing. No one's mad at you, Rabbit.
Of course not. That's a horrible thing to say.
What about the
Hang on.
the grandchildren getting full?
Let's go back to that. Let's go back. Was the murder of your ex-husband your dad's big birthday present?
I don't remember.
So there was no big lead up and discussion about some big gift that you were involved in, at least?
I don't remember. I don't remember if I gave him a present. I hope I did.
Do you remember what anybody gave him for that birthday?
I really don't.
Was the murder of Dan Markel your dad's big gift?
I mean, that's. Of course not. That's a horrible thing to say.
What about
Wendi, let me ask you a question, Wendi. You do realize that we're here at the first-degree murder trial of your ex-husband where your brother is charged. Why is that question seeming to shock you so much, Wendi? That's the context of what is going on. Right over there is a jury of 12 of his peers, okay? The judge is above you. I'm the prosecutor. This is a murder trial. So don't act all shocked, you stuck-up cow.
the grandchildren getting full unfettered access to the grandchildren?
My
Could that
parents
have been
had
the
full
big gift?
unfettered access to their grandchildren always.
Not when they lived in Tallahassee.
Well, whenever they could come up and see them, they did.
They were 50% of the time with Dan Markel, right?
Sure, but whenever they were with me, they had full unfettered access.
What about the grandchildren getting full unfettered access to the grandchildren?
My
Could that have
parents
been
had
the
full
big gift?
unfettered access to their grandchildren always.
I don't know what happened there, guys. It went black and then it went back a second, but that's okay.
Not when they lived in Tallahassee.
Well, whenever they could come up and see them, they did.
They were 50% of the time with Dan Markel, right?
Sure, but whenever they were with me, they had full unfettered access.
On the occasion that we're talking about Dad's birthday, Was that one of the times that when you came back to Tallahassee, your parents rode with you and then rented a car and drove home in the rental car?
It was.
And how long a drive is that?
It's about 7 hours.
During that 7-hour trip, or at any time when you were in South Florida, was there any discussion of a murder at all?
No, absolutely not.
Any discussion of what to do about Dan?
No.
Any further discussion about bribing, converting to Christianity, any of those strategies?
No, that ship had long sailed.
Any discussion on that trip about the pending motion to
Yep, the whole Adelson family just decided to lie down and take the ass beating of the century from Professor Markel, because that's in character for everything that they do, right? That's completely in character with their baseline behaviors. Just lie down, take it.
preclude your mom from having contact with the kids?
No.
What was wrong with the TV that was repaired the morning of the murder?
I think one of my boys might have thrown something at it. There was like a little crack in the TV.
How long had the TV been broken at the time that it got repaired?
I honestly don't remember.
Could it have been a long time, quite a long time?
No, it could have been. I mean, I would be completely speculating. I don't remember how long it was broken for.
Yep, can't commit to that. Sorry. Yeah, it's just an unknown. Can't remember, don't remember, couldn't tell you.
Do you remember who repaired the TV?
Yes, it was called the Geek Squad.
Do you remember the window that the Geek Squad gave you for when they were going to be at your home to do this repair?
I do. I think they said it was 8 to 12 or 9 to 1, something like that.
Okay. Would you agree with me if I told you it was 8 to 12?
That sounds right.
All right. And do you recall what time the repairman actually arrived?
No, but I remember they came on the early side.
Okay. And was the repair done?
No,
Why not?
because I called my brother to find out how much a new TV would cost versus how much the repair cost, and it didn't make sense to repair it.
It's cheaper to buy a new TV.
Yeah.
The records indicate the repairman was there for about 45 minutes. Does that sound accurate to you?
Sure. That's my best. Sure.
Why was he there for that long, just to tell you, like, this thing can't be repaired or it's cost prohibitive to repair? Do you remember?
I don't. My guess is he was there to try to see how he could repair the TV, and then he gave me an estimate, and then I found out what the estimate compared to the cost of a new TV would be.
Who paid the repairman?
I did.
The repairman, you're familiar with his statement that you seemed really upset that day. What were you upset about?
I have no idea.
Thanks, Carrie. Yeah, I tried to keep it a little PC, you know.
Were you upset that day?
I don't remember being, oh, yes, I was upset that day. I was upset. I remember Danny wanted to take the kids swimming, and I wanted to pick them up earlier in the day.
Okay,
And
so nothing to do with the TV.
I don't think so. I probably wasn't that upset about the TV.
Did you ever use the TV as code for the murder?
No.
I know, Bob. Doesn't that lady look so elegant? She looks like a passenger from the Titanic. And what do you do, Mr. Dawson?
Did you ever hear your mom do that?
No.
Do you remember on July 13th, 2014, seeing Jeffrey Lacasse at your place on Aqua Ridge? Do you even remember that evening?
I don't remember seeing him at my place because by that point we were kind of broken up. So I don't think I would have seen him at my place.
All right. So on that occasion, you couldn't have told him you wanted to share something with him in confidence?
I think that would be very unlikely. We had kind of broken up at that point.
And you couldn't have told him at that time the statement about your brother really did look into hiring the hitman?
I can't imagine I would have said that.
And when did you break up?
I'll put it on the list, Tay. Yeah, that's quite good, isn't it? I like that.
With Mr. Lacasse, or when did the two of you break up?
It would have been end of June 2014.
So not 4 days before the murder?
No,
All right, so end of June 2014 would have been the last time you saw him.
no. I saw him after that. We were talking and kind of figuring out what we wanted to do, but we had gone on a trip to Gainesville the last weekend in June,
Mm-hmm.
at which point we had a big argument and I really didn't want to be with him after that. So at that point for me, I was pretty much done, but there were more discussions until it, formally ended.
And when was the formal end?
Yes, Incognito will be doing all of Donna's trial live from the 16th of September, no matter how hot it is in here. I guess it's going to start about 2 in the afternoon for us and run for what, 2 weeks? So hopefully the second half of December is going to be a little bit cooler.
I remember seeing him that Monday night and telling him I wanted to have some space.
Okay, so 4 days before the murder?
So 4 days before Danny was killed.
All right, and that was that the end of your relationship with him?
When I told him I wanted some space, yeah.
Okay. Where did you go after the TV repair man left?
After he left, I stayed at the house for a while and I was working on some pieces of writing. I was talking with various friends. I had a friend in town interviewing for a job at FSU. I was making plans to go meet her. The time got too close before her interview. And then I had 2 friends that I would often meet.
Hey, ring the bell, Soap. We've got 100 people in the stream. Good going, guys. Let's all go put a like on the video right now. How about it?
On Fridays, just kind of last minute. And so we made plans to go have lunch.
All right, so what time did you leave the house to go have lunch?
I really didn't remember offhand, but I refreshed my memory and saw it was sometime around 12:45.
Okay, so it makes sense that you might have left your residence at about 12:30.
Sure.
Okay, and did you go to the crime scene or very near the crime scene on your way from your residence to, I guess, to lunch or to wherever you were going next?
No, I did not.
So you never turned on
The 2, I think the repairman was there for 45 minutes because he came early. Wendy had to keep him there for as long as possible. So before he left, she said, let me call my brother, and then took as long as she possibly could on that, 18-minute phone call to keep the guy there for as long as possible, delayed him any way that she could so she could keep her alibi as much as she could, knowing that there's no way she could keep him there for the full 2 hours until Dan would be shot. But as much time as he is there is less time that she has to fill out by doing digital things, text messages, emails, sending to work, working on her papers, blah, 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 that can all be verified by the police.
Prescott Drive that day?
I went to turn on Trescott Drive, but I saw that it had been blocked off by some tape. And so I just kept driving on Centerville.
Okay, and when you had to turn around at the tape, right, to go back out?
I think I tried to turn right and it couldn't turn. So I would have made the kind of turn, like a K turn, and kept going.
Was there a roadblock there with?
There was tape.
Yeah, and an officer was there?
I didn't see an officer, but I did see a car.
A law enforcement marked
Mhm.
vehicle? Okay, did you have any contact with the officer?
No.
Okay. Did you do anything after that to try to find out what was going on down that roadway?
No, I just assumed it was weather or maybe a tree fell.
Had there been bad weather that day?
No, but it was summertime and there's electrical storms and trees fall. So that would have been pretty normal for summertime.
Where were your kids supposed to be at the time that you encountered that roadblock?
They would have been at school.
And that's at the creative preschool?
That's right.
Who took them to preschool that day?
Danny,
And who was supposed to pick them up from preschool that day?
me.
All right. So did you know for sure that they had made it to preschool that day at the time you encountered the roadblock?
I just assumed, I mean, if they hadn't made it to preschool, Danny would have let me know, but
Did you attempt to call Dan Markel when you encountered the roadblock?
no, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it was related to the house.
Had you talked to Dan Markel or your kids that morning?
My kids know, but that would have been normal. And Danny and I tried to get in touch with each other, but we left. We were trying to figure out where Ben was going to go to kindergarten at the time. And we left voicemails for each other, but didn't get to talk.
Okay. Did he leave you a voicemail message that morning?
He did.
Okay. I asked you earlier about him being scheduled to leave town the day after he was killed. Do you know where he was planning to go?
He was going to New York to see his girlfriend.
The message that he left you that morning, do you remember what he told you in the message?
I think it was about our son's school.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I don't really remember.
Okay. Included in that was it included in that message that he was heading to the gym and was going to be at the gym between 9:15 and 10:30 that morning?
I really don't remember, but that sounds like it could be what he would leave.
Okay. Would it refresh your recollection to review it?
The two. No, I'm about 20 clicks away from the ocean at the moment. And it's still, there's no breeze, there's no nothing. It's like the Mojave Desert here.
Transcript of that voicemail.
Sure.
Just take a moment to review that. Let me know when you're done.
Okay. Okay.
So did he say in that voicemail that he left you what his plans were in regards to the gym that day?
He did.
What exactly did he say about the gym?
About the gym, he said, I'm going to be at the gym probably between 9:15 and 10:30, but I'm happy to chat or meet with you. Maybe we can go for a walk at school or something like that. Let me know.
Okay. So that particular voicemail doesn't sound very emotionally abusive. Would you agree with that?
No, by this point in time, we were parenting really well and we were doing just fine.
Getting along great.
Yeah, we were doing just fine. My mom was baking him banana bread, and they were getting along better, giving him a hug. We were doing just fine.
Objection, Your Honor.
What's the objection?
Move to strike.
I'll strike the comment, Your Honor.
Please move on.
Did you talk to your brother on the day of your ex-husband's murder?
I did.
And about what time of day did you speak to him?
It would have been right after the repair guys were there because that's when I called him to tell him, ask him whether I should get the TV repaired or buy a new TV. So It would have been morning.
How long did you talk to him?
I don't remember.
Does 18 minutes sound incorrect?
That sounds reasonable.
Okay. Did you talk to him about other things other than just the TV?
I really don't remember what else I talked to him about, but probably maybe I would have asked him about his work or we would have caught up.
Did you happen to mention Dan Markel's plans to go to New York the next day?
I don't see why I would have.
Did you have WhatsApp on your phone at that time?
I don't know if in 2014 I had WhatsApp. Now we use it for all the parent chats at school. So everybody seems to have it, but I don't know if everybody had it back in 2014.
What is WhatsApp?
WhatsApp is kind of an app you would use for texting.
Do you know if your brother Charlie had it at that time?
I have no idea if he had it at that time.
Did you ever communicate with Charlie through WhatsApp?
Maybe. I don't know if I had it at that time or if I had it later, I probably would have.
Just not sure.
Yeah,
Did you have any contact of any kind with Catherine Magbanua on the day of Dan Markel's murder?
no.
Did you ever communicate with her through WhatsApp?
No, I never communicated with her at all.
All right, let's talk about, well, you communicated with her on the beach.
I saw her in person, but I'm saying I never texted with her, called her. I never communicated via a device other than in person.
Okay. What about when you were talking to your brother? Did she ever get on the phone and speak to you?
I don't think so.
Okay. I want to talk about where you went when you left your residence on the day of the murder. You tried to turn on to Trescott, and then you ended up where?
I went, I was supposed to go to a party that night, a Stock the Bar party. So I went to a liquor store to pick up what they had asked for as the present for their party. So I went to the liquor store, I picked up the alcohol. I stopped, I think I got.
I believe this thing about Catherine McBanower. I don't think there was any relationship there whatsoever, even despite that chummy picture at the beach. What is that about? Why was that picture taken? But I've heard a few people say that they think Wendi and Catherine McBanower had more of a close relationship. Why? Why would that happen? What evidence is there to support that? Wendi sees Catherine McBanower as a subspecies compared to herself, right? Nothing. Totally irrelevant. Not even furniture, like public furniture, a park bench. Yeah, we're gonna get to that. We've got some videos to discuss about Katie and Wendi coming up soon, guys. Maybe next, as soon as we get our edit suite, because we gotta trim some videos down and build the context. But I've been going through a lot of material and getting those time codes, and it paints a very compelling picture.
Gas, and then I went to lunch to meet my friends.
And the liquor store purchase appears to have occurred at 12:49 based on the receipt. Do you have any reason to dispute that
No, that
timing?
sounds right.
Okay. And then from there to the restaurant?
Yes.
And where was the restaurant located?
Mosaic. I actually don't remember. I just remember I would go north on Thomasville Road.
All
And
right.
so it was,
And is the restaurant where law enforcement came to speak with you and you ended up going with them to the police station, right?
that's correct.
Right. Do you agree or disagree that there have been some financial benefits to you and your boys
$860,000.
as a result of Dan's death?
I disagree.
When did you decide to change the names of your children from Markel to Adelson?
So after Danny's murder, there was a lot of news. It just hit the media and there were news stories everywhere. And Nancy Grace on CNN put pictures of my boys with their faces unblurred, just pictures of them.
Mhm.
And I was terrified. And so when they started school, I started school with my last name, thinking that would keep them safe, that they wouldn't be associated with the murder.
Wasn't the Adelson name in the...
So implicit in that action is that she thought that there was a killer out there who was looking for anyone named Markel. Didn't matter if they were 3 years old. If they were called Markel, they were at risk, right? Even though, as far as Wendi would tell it, it was either Jeff or Amy Adler's ex-husband, right? Why would they? I mean, they would know the Adelson name as well. Even Amy Adler, I would imagine. Amy Adler's ex-husband, probably. I mean, it doesn't even make a difference because it's completely ridiculous. What is he going to be doing? We've got to kill his kids as well. Where are they? At a preschool in Miami? Get in the car. It's going to be a 9-hour drive, but it'll be worth it when we put a bullet in the head of that 3-year-old boy. Yeah, I had to change their names. Nancy Grace put them on CNN. So I changed them to the other name that's really associated with this case.
press? Just
It
as
was
much
not in the
as
press.
Markel?
Not yet.
Do you agree that you legally changed the kids' names on July 6th of 2015?
That sounds right.
So it was actually a year after the homicide.
A year after.
When was the last time you talked to your mom? Did you talk to her today, yesterday?
I talked to her yesterday.
In her emails, and we referenced one of them while you've been here on the stand, she talks about you giving performances and playing roles. Did you discuss anything about what you would do here today in court with your mother?
No,
Were you involved in any way in the plot to kill your ex-husband?
absolutely not.
Did you know it was going to happen, but maybe not know the details?
I knew nothing.
Is that why you went to the crime scene on the day of the homicide?
I did not go to the crime scene on the day of the homicide.
Do you know who all was involved in the murder?
Well, I learned today, but at the time, no.
Okay. Have you ever privately confronted your brother about his role or possible role in the murder?
My attorney has advised me not to have conversations with anyone in my family about the case.
But you had a close relationship with your brother at the time of the murder, right?
I absolutely had a close relationship with my brother.
And how soon after the murder did your lawyer advise you not to talk to your family about it?
In 2016.
Okay, so what about the 2 years in between? Did you talk to him about it then?
I mean, I talked to him about the fact that a murder occurred, but I guess I don't understand the question.
But you never talked to him about the suspicions you...
The question was, did you speak to your brother about the murder for 2 years before your lawyers told you not to do that?
raised in the law enforcement interview that your brother might have done it.
No, I did not.
You suspected your brother could have been a part of this, right?
I suspected lots of people could have been a part of it.
But he was one of the people, right?
While I was talking with law enforcement for 6 hours, terrified out of my mind, I offered them every possible idea I could come up with.
Right. And one...
Terrified out of your mind. That's not the way I remember it, Wendy. I remember you making derogatory comments and laughing about a rabbi's traditional Jewish name. I remember you flirting with everybody that came into the room, laughing like a hysterical madwoman, and going on about the Cheerios in your fucking car. You didn't come across as being terrified out of your mind.
One of the possible ideas...
Apart from when you were doing your... What is going on? Oh, who could have done this, Jane? Jane, who could have done this? And are they going to come after my kids? Or me? Who's next? Oh, I didn't even think about Jeff.
was that your brother could have murdered your child's father.
I didn't
right?
really believe that was possible.
Was part of the plot for you to be able to have plausible deniability about this?
Absolutely not.
Is it better for both you and your brother if you don't know the details of this?
I don't even understand the question that you're asking me.
Like who he got to be the middle woman and didn't tell you until Uvia?
When did you first become aware that you might be a suspect in this case?
I mean, as the ex-wife, I assumed I was a suspect from the beginning.
What was your first thought when you were asked if anyone might have murdered Dan Markel for your benefit?
I thought, oh my God, maybe if I hadn't divorced him, he would still be alive. Maybe this is my fault because I complained to the wrong person. Maybe Danny gave a student a bad grade and they came after him. I just was trying to think of who possibly could have wanted to hurt him.
But you didn't say any of...
Yeah. He gave a student a bad grade. He got his grade paper and wrote in a red pen at the bottom. He said, "Try harder next time. And that student went home and stewed on that for 8 hours, and then grabbed a gun, made his way over to Trescott, with the report card still in hand. You want me to try harder? How about I try harder all over your stupid face?
That before, the first thing you said was Charlie, right?
I don't think so.
Page 25 of your interview, line 5 through 15. Do you have any reason to dispute? Page 25, not 5 hours into it. You say Charlie might have done it, right?
Can I see, please?
You may. This is going to be tab 1, page 25.
What I say here is that he would never do it. Right under the highlighted part, I say, no, he would never.
Need a copy?
Yeah. Page 25, line 5 through 15. I mean, my brother, the one, his name is Charlie, the one I'm really close to. He makes a lot of jokes in that taste, and it was a joke he made. He bought the TV for me this morning that got broken, and then I was talking to him about whether it made sense to pay or fix it, or whether I should get a new one. And it was always his joke that, like, he knew that Danny always treated me badly, and it was.
I haven't read Ruth's book, Carrie, but I want a copy. I listened to the, what do you call it, the sample on Audible the other day, and it sounds very good. But I want a hard copy. I don't think I like listening to audiobooks. And I want the souvenir. What a thing to have for the museum.
Always his joke. He said, I looked into hiring a hitman and it was cheaper to get you this TV. So instead I got you this TV. And you do say you don't think he would do it, but can we agree you brought up his name on page 25 of the interview?
I did.
When asked, would you ever ask someone to do something like this? You say not in a million years. When asked, okay, do you think someone would do this for your benefit without asking you? You say no. And when Isom starts to ask you, what good does it serve? You say, I mean, my brother, the one, his name is Charlie. Isn't that how it went?
This is the transcript, but I think there's also inaccuracies in the transcription.
Oh boy. All right. Do you want the culpable parties held accountable for murdering the father of your children?
Absolutely. I'm grateful they're already in jail.
But not if it's your family.
It's not my family.
I mean, somebody hired him, right?
Not necessarily.
Somebody paid him.
I learned something this morning.
Yeah, me too. You didn't want him held accountable if it was your family members. Didn't you tell law enforcement that?
That's not what I told law enforcement.
What did you tell law enforcement?
I told them that the person who did this should be held responsible and that I had nothing to do with it.
Page 122, lines 7 through 12. If somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The investigator says, regardless of who it is, and your answer is, I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother.
But I don't think it was my family, is what I
Different
said.
now, isn't it?
No, it's not different. That's exactly
different
what I
today,
said
isn't
right
it?
here. No, that's not
No
right.
further questions.
Bosh.
Cross-examination.
Judge, maybe we could sidebar for.
And that's how you end a direct examination of an unindicted co-conspirator. No further questions. It's different now, isn't it? It's different today, isn't it? No further questions. Love it. That is, I tell you, Georgia always makes sure to give Wendi a real good end to the examination, and she does it so beautifully well. Fantastic work, Georgia. Love you, babe. Man, I feel really rattled after listening to 2 hours of that. I need a shower. God. Well, thanks for sticking with us, guys. I think everybody's in a strange, well, at least me and Rabbit, everyone's in a strange mood today. Maybe there's a full moon or something. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Good, guys. Thanks for all being here. Thanks for chatting, supporting the channel, liking the video, subscribing to the channel. We'll be back tomorrow. Are we going to continue with this mess? Dan Rashbaum's cross-examination that's more of a love-in hug factory fest? Maybe. Or maybe we'll do something different, a wild card. I'm kind of getting a bit restless with the Adelson case. I did want to take a break before Donna's trial, but maybe come in a few days early with some more concise Adelson content, something that might explain a few things that we could see being brought up in Donna Adelson's trial. A little preemptive rehearsal, so to speak. So I assume you're already all subscribed to the channel, but if you're not, do click subscribe, because we'll be back real soon with some more true crime Metrix content. Okay? Thanks all. Good night. Be safe. Don't be an Adelson. Be kind to each other. And safe drive home.